Welcome to GameQuest. I'm Mike.
And I'm Tony.
And this is Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee is a fighting game that was released in 2002, developed by Pipeworks Software, mostly known for tying games like the 2009 Night at the Museum game, and published by Infogrames under the Atari brand and in association with Toho, the owners and creators of the Godzilla franchise. It is the first in a connected trilogy of games, followed by Godzilla Save the Earth in 2004, and finally Godzilla Unleashed in 2007. There is also two tie-in games to this series in Godzilla Domination for the Game Boy Advance, which was noteworthy in an interesting way for allowing up to 4 players in a single pack multiplayer, meaning you didn't need to own multiple copies of the game to play with friends, just the ability to link multiple Game Boys. The third game got a mobile equivalent in Godzilla Unleashed Double Smash for the DS because apparently, I guess if you just released a DS game, you had to like incorporate that into the title, like it was the law.
It seemed to be the law at the time.
Certainly, yeah. Curiously, the second game had no mobile tile variation, only the first and third games. And as the button prompts on the screen will tell you in a minute here anyway, this is a GameCube game, and it's noteworthy only in that there is also an Xbox version of this title, and there's a couple of small but differences between them. The most interesting one is in the form of Mechagodzilla. We'll talk more on that later on. For now, we're just going to go ahead and get into the game.
Alright.
Which we will be doing a lot of Godzilla talking and Godzilla trivia because Tony and I are both, well, I was going to say both fans, but it would be more accurate to say that Tony is a massive fan and I greatly enjoy Godzilla.
I was actually more or less completely raised on the Godzilla franchise as opposed to anything reasonable.
Yeah. I would not be entirely surprised if Tony knew more about Godzilla than Toho did. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and I guess start with, is Adventure Mode the story mode?
Adventure Mode is the story mode.
Okay.
Adventure Mode.
I'm putting this pretty much exclusively in Tony's hands. I'm just going to trust he does right by me. Wait, what? I thought this was a fresh save file.
It is. I don't have access to the other monsters.
Huh. Okay, just go ahead and do whatever then.
Alright. It has been forever.
Start with the basics.
Oh man. This is a nostalgia game.
Attention, inhabitants of the planet you call Earth. We are the Vortac, alien invaders from a distant galaxy who possess an intellect and technology far superior to your own. We have come to seize control of your planet and plunder its resources for our own purposes. It's what we do. All Earth inhabitants will be enlisted to do our bidding. You are instructed to proceed to the nearest outpost for processing. Oh, to encourage your cooperation, we have seized control of your Monster Island facility and have unleashed all monsters under our mind control rays. Monster attack on your major population centers is imminent. Not even your strongest monster can break free of our control and defeat the others. That is all. Am I still on? Oh. Well, we now return you to whatever it was you were doing.
I love this game because, like, that's kind of a joke in itself, but it's also incredibly par for course.
Oh.
Monsters, fight!
Let's see. Oh, okay. It has been so long. He is going to try and hit me with that. And I don't remember how to block. That's unfortunate.
I forgot Godzilla breakdanced when he tried to stand up.
There we go. No. Okay. What is the pickup button? That's jump.
That's flinging Eurus.
Come on. There's definitely a
Z?
button. No, that's how I basically shoot him. That's jump. That's
We
tail.
probably should have looked at the controls first. I'll see what I can look up.
Alright. Looking at the controls probably would have been a good idea. I just was so confident that I remembered how the controls work, I just didn't even bother. Oh, the volcano hurts.
Just standing around in lava.
Yeah. Oh yeah, his spikes hurt. I mean, you'd think they would, but... There we go. There we go.
You hit A and B at the same time to grab things.
Oh, it's a combo. Okay, that makes more sense. I suppose this...
And now we've left Monster Island to go to Osaka.
Monsters. Fight.
Nope.
Oh, I remember Megalon.
Yeah,
now.
he was that guy. Oh, darn it. Okay.
I can't help but think some of this stuff is out of scale.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, hey, look, there's a thing. Power up. Rage mode. There's not really a counter to that.
Yeah, there isn't an immediate way of dealing with that.
Dude, Riveted Blast.
There we go. No, no, put me down! Put me down!
Hey, look, another thing.
Oh. You should only be able to stay on the ground for so long, right?
I think so?
Okay, you can just straight up... Ah, darn it.
Oh, no.
No, 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 no. Well, I guess we won't figure out what he's... Oh. No.
Got some range on that, though.
Like, I think there's almost no reason to pick certain monsters when it comes to, like, beam struggles.
That's fair.
Because I think monsters like Rodan and Megalon just straight up don't have the range in order to actually use it effectively. Oh, hey, San Francisco is under attack.
Yeah.
Ghidorah. Monsters. Fight.
The AI in this game is...
I think it gets a little bit harder later on. Like, you did lose 90% of your health in that last fight.
Yeah, I did.
I don't like how King Ghidorah is going down this easily, though.
Ah, yes, the flying monsters.
I mean, let's... Wow.
Okay. I'm just gonna... There we go. not really that much of a super move. Honestly, they get a lot
You're
better.
gonna want that health. You just let that happen.
I did just let that happen. I wasn't really paying attention to it.
I mean, he just let that happen. He just stood there and just watched you charge up.
Yeah, the AI is kind of special sometimes.
Keep healing him. Won't help. I like the subtle effects, like how all of King Ghidorah's eyes glow green as he's charging the attack.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually wasn't paying to that kind of thing.
But hey, if we're mentioning details like that, I guess let's talk Godzilla in general.
Oh yeah? Yeah, well, that's probably be a good thing to talk about.
So part of the reason why I'm so fascinated with Godzilla is two main reasons. One is that I have not seen any kind of like Godzilla like stupid cheap cash-ins or something. I've only seen basically people who actually like even the bad Godzilla movies, like the genuinely terrible stuff, seems like it was made with a lot of love in mind. As part of what? Well,
Monsters.
Sorry, you were saying?
so to give an idea of how weird Godzilla is as a franchise, let's just go ahead and do a roll call of sorts. First, there was the original Godzilla movie, which is kind of like an anchor point for the entire franchise, but it's not only included in any particular area, which we will get to in a second. Then there was what's referred to as the Showa era, I believe.
Yeah, the Showa era.
Which is most of the older, like, Godzilla movies and Godzilla-related movies.
It spans most of the older Godzilla movies, starting from the third, usually, all the way up until the first Godzilla. I think it's 1984, in which basically that is the movie it officially switches over into the Heisei series.
And the Heisei series is basically sort of exists in the same canon as the Showa era, but not quite, because the Heisei series tries to ground it with more realism and like a darker, more serious tone a lot of times that conflicts with the original Showa movies. Though this isn't universally the case. But yeah, see, green glowing eyes.
Wow.
So that's why it's its own thing, and so the events of the previous movies are assumed to have happened to some degree, but they aren't canon in the same way as the later movies are. And then after that, there was the Heisei movie series ended with Destroya. Correct?
Yeah, that was the last movie in the Heisei series.
Which was originally like the last planned Godzilla movie, and then American studios wanted to make a take on the Godzilla franchise, which was semi-successful. That's the 1998 Godzilla movie, which needs to be mentioned for the sake of completion when it comes to that sort of discussion, regardless of whether or not you like it, for two separate, equally important reasons. One is that Zilla, which became the official name for that iteration of Godzilla after the movie, Agro Air,
Apparently. Agro Air. I'm not entirely sure what that company's supposed to be.
the world's worst airline. Anyway, there was the 1998 American Godzilla movie, which has its own kind of... wow, that was incredibly violent looking. Which has its own degree of relative infamy within the Godzilla fan base. But it's also directly responsible for Godzilla 2000 happening, to the point where I would go as far as to say that Godzilla 2000 is in many critical ways a direct ripoff of 1998 Godzilla.
which is not something you should say lightly.
I don't say it lightly. It literally reads, like when you watch the two movies back to back, there's like so many similarities and overlaps. I genuinely think that they saw the American Godzilla and was just like, you know, there's some bits in here that aren't terrible, but there's also some bits in here that we don't like. And so they just tried to remove the bits they didn't like. Throw them into the wall, extra damage. Or not. And just make their own movie using some of the same ideas. Because if you go over it where it's like, oh hey, sort of socially outcast science guy, basically with reporter girlfriend, there's so many plot similarities that I overlooked at the time. It became more obvious when rewatching it years later. But anyway, Godzilla 2000 is the beginning of the Millennium series, in which none of the movies are connected to each other. Like, they all exist within their own continuity, sort of. Where it's like, the original, old school, I believe it was 1954 Godzilla, is canon to all of them. Because of certain plot elements, like the existence of Godzilla and the Oxygen Destroyer, are important in a lot of them. But, wow. Give me some air, buddy. Could you imagine if the fights in the movies were like this?
I know, right?
But, like, each of the Millennium series exist within their own canon for the most part. They're not connected to any of them. With a couple of noteworthy exceptions. Because the one with the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, or I think it's Godzilla against Mechagodzilla is what the movie is called. Because Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is a different movie from a different era.
Yes.
It has the third iteration of Mechagodzilla, and then that movie has a direct sequel. And then two of the other movies, it's important for plot reasons that Zilla from the 1998 American Godzilla exists within continuity. As a post-1998 Godzilla introduction. In which case, the continuity would go original 1954 Godzilla, the 1998 American Godzilla, which was then followed by one of the Millennium series movies. Tony remembers which ones.
To be exact, it would be GMK, Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack, and Final Wars.
Because Zilla, or at least Zilla-related plot points appear in both movies.
There's a block button, right?
I'm not sure there is. I mean, there probably is. But, and then there's the newest era, which I don't know the name off the top of my head, but they exist in an even weirder state of canon. Because there's a, one is a series of animated Godzilla movies, in which Godzilla is actually a tree monster that occasionally takes the form of a giant lizard. Which exists purely in its own continuity. Not even related to the original 1954 Godzilla. There's a new Godzilla anime in the works that looks really interesting to me because they did a lot of redesigning for parts of the series, and I kind of want to see where they're going with that. And then there's also Shin Godzilla, which is one part existential horror, one part political piece. About, like, the evils of bureaucracy.
It's a specific critique upon the Japanese bureaucratical system and how they deal with disasters. But the new modern era is called the Reiwa-like series, I believe. It's called the Reiwa. I'm pronouncing that slightly weird, but Reiwa series.
And then there's also the Legendary Pictures Monsterverse, based off of just reliving your glory days.
I'm just kind of...
Oh wait, we should probably go to the next episode. Next time on Game Quest.
Oh